Hey everyone, Corey from CoreyReviews here to review the latest horror film, Found. Found is put out by Macabre and XL-Rated Media along with the October People and Forbidden Films. The film is co-written and directed by Scott Schirmer, and it is also based on the novel, and also the screenplay is co-written by Todd, Rigney. The film is about like a family of four. There's a mom, dad, but the film primarily focuses on the two brothers of the family, a younger brother, Marty, and an older brother, Steve. And both brothers are like really big into horror movies and graphic novels, and the younger brother, Marty, finds out that his older brother is actually a murderer and that he is obsessed with this one movie called Headless, and he's been like copycat killing people in the style of the movie. And basically he's trying to keep his brother's secret and figure out why his brother is doing these things. And as the film progresses, you learn a lot more about the brother, you learn a lot more about what's going on and what the motives are. And pretty much the entire synopsis here is like everything that you see like within the first 5 minutes. Everything that happens, especially the second half on into the film, I mean, it's completely unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen next. At the beginning of the film, it's kind of more of like a drama. Even like the soundtrack and the mood of it. The soundtrack is also really good score. It kind of reminds me of one of my favorite films, Southland Tales, and the score that Moby did for that film. It kind of has that vibe to it. And when it started showing scenes of the movie Headless, which isn't a real movie, it's like a movie within a movie, the film turns pretty hardcore, and it's kind of like a sucker punch to the gut, because the rest of the movie, your jaw's kind of just wide open like, oh my gosh, what am I witnessing? What am I viewing? And I mean, once the horror aspects start coming into the film, it gets pretty intense. I don't really want to spoil anything about the film because it's one of those films that you have to kind of go out and check it out and witness it for yourself, and the less you know going into the film, the better. And one of the great things about this film are the themes. It's not really like your typical horror, slasher, cookie cutter type movie. I don't think that there was actually one jump scare in this entire film. It's a lot more psychological. It's kind of like a coming of age story for both of the brothers. You know, one's a killer and one's just trying to just kind of navigate through his childhood. This film has a very realistic vibe of like what would happen if someone in your family just decided to start killing people and kept it a secret from not only his or her family, but also the people within the community. And also the film kind of delves into some deeper, darker material and themes such as racism and like incest type of stuff, and how people are just so disconnected with one another. You know, the fact is like you have this guy that's going around killing people, but people are just so disconnected and they just really don't seem to care. And it gets pretty dark and twisted, especially in the final act. Another thing it kind of touches upon is how your parents treat you. And also, you know, how if your parents are too strict, or sometimes if they're not strict enough and they don't seem to pay attention to you that much, how that can affect the child as well. It kind of leaves you with this kind of like, feeling afterwards, but at the same time, it kind of makes you like, okay, maybe as a community we should start bettering ourselves, because, you know, stuff like this could actually happen. And like it says right up here, this quote, as horror can get. And I agree with that quote because, you know, what to me is a lot more scarier are things that could actually happen. Not, you know, a killer jumping out of nowhere, or, you know, a cat popping out of the darkness or something like that. But what's scary to me are things like this that, you know, actually could happen. Some kid just deciding, I'm just going to start killing people. And that's a lot more terrifying, especially if it's someone like in your own family. You know, that to me is a lot more terrifying than, you know, just typical cookie cutter slasher films, horror films, whatever. A few of the downsides though are there's some extreme violence halfway throughout the film. It kind of feels almost like you're watching a snuff movie or something. It's very it's like I said, it's a little over the top at times, but it kind of helps set up the second half of the film. But maybe they did linger on that a little too much. Also, some of the racism stuff, while I understood where they were going, just kind of went nowhere. And also the fact that you know, there's all this stuff going on in these people's community and they're not really paying attention just kind of seemed a little weird. And, you know, obviously it is a lower budget film. You could tell that with just the look of the film, and, you know, some of the acting as well isn't necessarily the greatest. Not a bad movie overall. I would recommend, you know, picking it up if you're a fan of these type of films, if it sounds good to you, or definitely giving it a rent at Redbox or something. But going over the packaging real quick, there is the front, spine, the back, and also on the back here you do get a pretty cool quote from Sybil Danning saying, "Found delivers in directing, acting, special effects, and a most spectacular ending." You get a few of the awards that it won there. And special feature wise, you get the uncut movies within a movie, Headless, and Deep Dwellers, and also a commentary with the director Scott Schirmer and author Todd Rigney. Alright guys, so there it is, my review of Found. Definitely give it a watch if you're a fan of these type of films, if it sounds interesting to you. And also I gotta thank Macabre, XL Raider Media, The October People, and Forbidden Films. So I hope you all enjoyed this review, and until next time, Corey from Corey Reviews. See y'all later.